Thank you so much for joining us for our virtual healing kitchen demonstration. My name is Michelle and I'm the program coordinator at Waterford Place Cancer Resource Center. Waterford provides programs and services free of charge to anyone impacted by a cancer diagnosis that supports whole person care. I'd like to introduce Carly Smitherman, a registered dietitian who has been leading this program for the past few years. She has relevant experience working with people managing chronic illness and also providing education on plant-based diets. Tonight, she will be demonstrating how to make cauliflower pineapple stir fry, as well as demonstrate how to make it with, or at least discuss how to make it with brown rice. So Carly, I will turn it over to you.
Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. Like Michelle mentioned, today we're going to be making cauliflower pineapple rice, which is so delicious. Your mouth is going to be watering. You're going to wish you were in my kitchen so you could taste it. To start, we are going to need about 2 cups of pineapple. So I'm using fresh pineapple today. You could use canned pineapple if you choose to use canned. I always say to make sure it's in a 100% juice, no added syrup or anything like that if you're going with canned. Fruits or vegetables, make sure that you get the healthiest version. And you could also use frozen if you want. You would just have to let it sit out and thaw before you make the recipe. So we're going to start this recipe with grilling the pineapple. So even if you're not making this recipe, grilled pineapple is a great summer dessert, and it's healthier, it's really delicious, and it's sweet because when you're grilling it you kind of caramelize it and it tastes so delicious. So that is something you could also have for a snack or dessert. You could have it now, but I'm just saying in the summer it's really good out on the grill. So today I'm going to be using my tabletop skillet so you can see better, but I do recommend using a large rimmed skillet for this recipe. We're going to continue to combine things into the skillet, so the higher rim is going to be beneficial for you and for your stove, less to clean up in the end. All right, so my skillet is on medium to low heat. I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on it. You could also use a spray oil. I have this 100% pure avocado oil spray that we like to use in our house. You could use avocado oil, grapeseed oil, but just enough to coat the bottom of the pan. And then we're going to add our pineapple and let it grill for a little bit till we get a beautiful, nice caramelized color. While that's cooking, you can multitask and take your medium-sized cauliflower head and trim off the leaves and wash your cauliflower in the sink. And then we want to break it apart into florals like this. Okay, so what you're going to need for the cauliflower rice is probably the most convenient is a food processor, but you could also use a hand grater if you have one. Have to pull out. You could use a hand grater as well. If you do, you want to use the medium size grating. And it just takes a lot longer to hand grate it rather than using the food processor, but it works just as well. So it's only going to take like 1 to 2, or more like 2 to 3 minutes to get our pineapple caramelized for this recipe. And then we're going to take it out of the skillet and set it aside. And we will revisit it again at the end of the recipe when we're putting everything together. And we don't want to burn it, so making sure to toss it a little bit is recommended. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make the rice with the food processor because, like I said, it's the easier process. Once again, just as a reminder, we need a medium-sized cauliflower head. A pretty good size since this is going to be the base of our recipe. We are going to be adding a lot of beautiful vegetables and our pineapple, but the cauliflower is going to be the main ingredient in this recipe. So I like to use, if you have a food processor at home, I like to use the double blade while grating this. You could also use your grater attachment. It's just a little bit more challenging. We'll add our cauliflower to our food processor. Cauliflower is so great for your diet. It's packed with nutrition and it's low calorie and it's a great substitute if you're trying or if you are diabetic, pre-diabetic, have to really count your carbs. I apologize, my doorbell just rang. All right. Perfect. The pineapple is almost done. I have this on a really low heat because I just started it. So normally it doesn't take as long. But yes, like I said, I just turned this on, so it's a little bit, it's not as warm as I would like it to be when I started the recipe. So, all right. Bear with me for a second as I turn on the food processor. And that was it. Only takes a couple of seconds, and you got your cauliflower rice. So what we're going to want to do with this cauliflower rice is we're going to put it in a clean towel and press out any liquid that there might be in there. There shouldn't be much, maybe just the liquid from cleaning the cauliflower. Press this out. Roll it up in paper towels and then take a dish towel and go over it just to make sure that I get all of that excess water out. So we can set that aside. All right. So I wasn't thinking by putting this in a white bowl, but you can see here, hopefully, that the texture is about the size of a rice grain. The more you blend it, the mushier it's going to get. And the smaller it is, it's going to take away from the consistency of rice, which is what we want in this recipe. So again, just blend it for a couple of seconds. All right. Pineapple is almost ready to be taken out. So, this cauliflower I did earlier, so I've already pressed it. I'll just set that aside. Once you have the nice golden color, it just looks like it's slightly grilled, a little bit of brown in certain areas. You can take this straight out of the skillet. Grilling it really just makes it a little bit sweeter, brings that flavor out. It's gonna taste delicious with our recipe. Perfect. All right, we're gonna use the same skillet to make our vegetables in a minute so that we have less things to clean up. But while this is heating up a little bit warmer, I'm going to switch gears to our cauliflower rice. So I'm going to steam our cauliflower rice in a separate skillet behind me so that we can move this process along. So we want to take our cauliflower, about 2 tablespoons of water. This is way more than 2 tablespoons. This is about 1/4, so about a little bit more than 3. And then you can add oil to the bottom if you're afraid it will stick. I'm just going to spray the pan really lightly with my avocado spray. And then I'm going to put the oven on medium-low heat. And then we are going to steam our cauliflower. It's going to take about 5 to 6 minutes to steam. So while that's steaming, we're going to make the sauce for our stir fry our stir fry, our fried rice, and then we're going to make the vegetables for it as well. So this is nice and warm. We'll add our cauliflower. I'm going to unwrap the cauliflower that we just processed. Again, we want this on low to medium heat so we don't burn the cauliflower. We're going to add the water, and then we're going to let it steam so it becomes nice and soft. So again, we want the texture of cooked rice. All right. So let's move along on to our sauce. So once you get the recipe, you'll see there are quite a few ingredients to the sauce. There's some that you could leave out if you do not have them on hand, but this sauce is so delicious. I always use it when I'm making any type of stir fry, really. All right. So what we're going to need for the sauce, I'm using some organic butter today. You could use almond butter, sunflower seed butter. This is just to give it more of the flavor that we want with the like the Thai flavor that we want in this recipe. I'm using 100% pure maple syrup to give it a little bit of sweetness. I'm going to be using organic coconut liquid aminos. So if you do not have this, don't want to go out and purchase it or try to find it, that is fine. You can substitute for tamari, which is gluten-free soy sauce, or regular soy sauce. I recommend if we're going for soy sauce to make sure you get the low sodium version. The reason why I really like the liquid aminos is because it's already low sodium. So this bottle right here per serving has 140 milligrams of sodium, whereas just regular soy sauce has 940 milligrams. So you can see there's quite a big difference there. We also are going to need some fresh ground ginger, about 1½ limes. And then this is another thing that you could substitute out if you don't want. You could garlic chili paste. So some people don't like this recipe with a little bit of kick. Some people can't handle any spice. If you want to substitute this out, you could just use regular minced garlic in place of it, and it's still delicious. We're also going to need some water so that this sauce isn't super thick. All right, so let's start blending those together. Just checking on the cauliflower rice to make sure it's not burning. All right. So, like I said, I'm using liquid aminos here. We need about 4 tablespoons. This is going to be the main ingredient in the sauce. We need 2 tablespoons of the butter, the peanut butter version that we decided to use. Or the nut butter, I apologize, the nut butter we decided to use. I'd like to start mixing those two together first. Peanut butter is kind of chunky and thick, getting it mixed in very well with the tamari sauce or the liquid aminos will help the rest of the ingredients blend nicely. So for the garlic, I actually, we either want to mince this very finely, or you can use garlic paste. This is also found in the produce section. It's a little bit more expensive, but less work. So I have this in the refrigerator, so we're going to use that today. We need about 1 tablespoon. Mix that in nicely. So we need about 2 tablespoons of lime juice, which is about 1 lime and a half. Or you could use already lime juice that's already made for you. Again, that can be found in the produce section of the grocery store. All right. We need a tablespoon of the maple syrup. Now with maple syrup, again, that's for the sweetness. So we can always substitute that for honey or agave. Those are also natural sweeteners. And then we have our garlic chili paste. So that's really up to your taste with the garlic chili paste. If you like things spicy, put in the 2 to 3 tablespoons or teaspoons of the chili paste. Or if you don't put any in, add garlic instead, or even just omit both of them. All right. So we're going to add just a little bit of water to this to smooth it out. Probably about 1 tablespoon of water would work perfectly. All right, and we're going to mix it up, and then we'll set it aside. Easy enough. I'm going to take another look at our cauliflower rice. It's looking very good here. I'm going to turn the heat off. Almost done cooking while we move on to our vegetables. So I love this recipe because it's so packed full of fruits and vegetables. You're going to get a little bit of every piece of nutrient with this recipe. You're going to get your protein with add-ons in the end with either our edamame, you could do tofu, or cashews. We love putting cashews in it because it gives it a little bit of a crunch and it's very delicious. But like I said, this is so nutrient packed. We're going to use shredded carrots, shredded red cabbage, and a bell pepper. So I love adding color to all of my meals, and my daughter loves any type of peppers, so I'm very lucky. So I did a combination of peppers here with the red, orange, and yellow pepper. So this meal is going to be so full of colors. It's going to be delicious. Let's see. All right, so first we're going to add some oil to our pan. I'm using sesame seed oil here for this recipe. Only about a tablespoon is really needed. Coat the bottom of the pan. Then we want to put in our vegetables that take a little bit longer to cook through. Woo! Sounds like we're at a hibachi grill in here. So we're going to put the peppers on. And then this is a lot of carrots. We don't need this many carrots. You need about a cup of carrots. So you could either buy the already shredded, or it would be about 2 medium-sized carrots for this recipe. So give that a nice stir. We are going to add some either tamari sauce or the liquid aminos again to this. Just about 1 tablespoon for the and coat the vegetables while it's cooking. Perfect. I'm gonna add some of the cabbage now, so we get this beautiful purple color. We're gonna, like I said, every color of the rainbow is gonna be in this meal. It's very fitting for this month since it's National Nutrition Month. We're eating all the colors of the rainbow tonight. All right. So we're gonna let that cook a little bit till it gets tender. I'm gonna check on my rice again. Nicely steamed. Beautiful. Right. So, perfect. I'm gonna put the lid on this for a minute. Warm these up. And then I'll share what other ingredients we'll be adding to this recipe. Okay. So also what we'll be adding to this recipe is some green onions, closer to the end because we don't want them to get too soft and soggy in the recipe. And like I said, edamame is a great option to add some extra protein to this recipe. I actually found this at Fresh Market. It's already cooked and shelled for you, super easy. You can also find edamame already shelled in the freezer section, and it comes in a microwavable bag, so you just need to cook it ahead of time, and then you can use it for this recipe. I'm going to be using cashews, like I said, for the protein in ours tonight. I really do recommend that you're using the raw version of cashews because there's no added salts or anything to it. I mean, with the sauce alone and adding either the tamari or the amino, we're adding enough sodium that you don't really need that extra sodium in our protein source that we're adding to the recipe. All right, this is cooking nicely. You could also add other ingredients. We're not going to have very much green in this, so if you want to add some kale, if you have it in the refrigerator, that's a good additive to this recipe. Give you some extra nutrition, some extra fiber that is always great for your health. Let's see. Just cooking up very nicely. So if you wanted to do this as just a straight vegetable fried rice, we're not using cauliflower rice. All you have to do, it's so simple, is to actually just cook the brown rice as directed on the packaging. And then when we add the cauliflower rice, you'll be adding the brown rice instead. I do recommend brown rice, of course, because it's 100% whole wheat, so it's better for you. It has more nutrition. It has more fiber and iron, things that you really need in your diet. That will still make this recipe a complete recipe with tons of nutrition in it. You do not have to use the cauliflower rice. The cauliflower rice is just another type of version of this recipe that you can use, and the cauliflower rice just adds a different form of nutrition to the recipe. So here we go. So our vegetables are nicely cooked here. And I am now going to add our pineapple back in. Stir it in, get it all mixed in nicely with all the beautiful vegetables. So our cauliflower rice is nice and ready to go. That is also going to be added in here. We're gonna all right. We are going to now turn off the heat. Because everything should already be cooked and ready to go. Blend in the rice. So again, if you were not using cauliflower rice, you were using brown rice or white rice, this is when you would add it and it would already be cooked. Right? We need to add in our delicious sauce. So the sauce is going to be a light brown color. It looks kind of like peanut sauce that you would get at most Thai restaurants. We'll stir this in nicely. I want to coat everything so the white cauliflower will actually turn to look like a brown rice. Let's see. And then we're going to add our green onions to the top here, just so they're nice and warm. And then for my recipe, I'm adding cashews, but you could add edamame. That would bring some more green into your recipe, which would make it look nice and beautiful, more color, more nutrition, perfect. And voila, our rice is done. Let me show you what it looks like. I'll serve up a bowl here. It's full of beautiful colors, so delicious. It has that nice sweet flavor to it with the pineapple. All right. I'm adding more. This looks so delicious. At the end, you can also squeeze some lime on top before serving. You could also add some cilantro to it. Sometimes we do that if we have some in the refrigerator. It's really good in this recipe. And I'll come on around and show you the end product. I hope you can see it. It's very delicious. So I hope you enjoy it and are able to make it maybe sometime this week for your family. Yeah, so that's how you make cauliflower rice stir fry. My husband was so excited when he saw the recipe I was making for tonight because now he gets to eat it for dinner. So yeah, thank you everyone. If you have any questions, let me know. We went right to 6:30.
Yes, that's okay. Thank you, Carly. That does look delicious. And we do have a few questions that I just want to ask really quick. So one of them is, can you use pre-packaged cauliflower rice and how much?
Yes, you can. So with the prepackaged cauliflower rice, are you talking about the one that is in the produce section or in the freezer? Because if it's the one in the freezer, you just need to make sure you cook it in the bag, and then that type of cauliflower rice, just because of the way it cooks and how it was processed, it's going to be a lot waterier. Is that a word? It's going to be it's going to be much more moist. So you just really need to make sure that you try to press out some of that liquid before adding it to all the vegetables and the stir fry, or else it's going to make everything like a little bit more soggy. And what we really want is more like a stir fry, like a rice texture, where it's a little bit more crunchy, I guess, a little bit more dense rather than mushy. I hope that makes sense. And then, yes, if you already got the prepackaged that's over in the produce section, just make it the same way. I believe those bags are about 12 ounces or 16 ounces. So that should be enough for the recipe. Yeah, that should be about the size of a medium head of cauliflower. Maybe a little less, but not that much less. It depends how many people you're feeding also. I hope that answers that question. Any other questions that came in?
The other question we have is if we can use sriracha sauce instead of the garlic one.
Yes, you can. That would be a great substitute. It'll give it a little bit of spice. Yeah, and you can add garlic to this recipe as well, like as another component. It's just there's already so many flavors, it doesn't really need it. But if you want a little bit of kick, sriracha would work perfectly fine.
And the last question is if you could use shallots instead of green onions, or would that be too strong?
I would use very like a small amount, just one, are they called cloves? One clove for that. Sometimes if I don't have green onions, I have red onions. I will use red onions in my stir fry as well. So yes, it will give a stronger flavor of onions to it, but I really enjoy onions. It's really based off of your taste. I would say I would start with like just one clove, and then if there's still not enough flavor, you can add another